More accurately, how do I get it to like say that I want to data?
You would assign P1 equals to snapshot.value dot user.
That's
where you're gonna call the yes, and you want to make sure specifically is if there is already a user. So when you do the on value, if you do that on immediately, you're gonna get back the data. So you need a traverse field.
Hey.
For some reason, I love it when it says it's a variable.
Oh, okay.
Because you want the variable to have either a name or.
That's weird, it says the correct time.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll fix it for you though, don't worry.
And then in here, instead of constantly going to databases, you're going to suspect, you see P1 is something that's a global variable that you find in your Delta file, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So then now there you say P1 name is equal to snapshot.value .warm or whatever.
Now,
Now, if there isn't a player that's not doesn't be null, it's not gonna work. So you know that there is no player in it.
okay, and then
Because that's fine in else. You just gotta make sure that you know.
so that's essentially like the flaws in this piece of code for using is that this isn't defined as a database object, and I don't have the database object so forth.
Right, that. So
Present.
Right. So in theory, the only thing left or you know, to make that work is in here when you're doing the console.log, you would add you know snapshot value whatever and set that equal to P1.
Because you didn't oh my god.
I'm understanding.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you to fix Wait, so what did you put on?
I don't know if you're structured that.
Yeah, so you do like little mask and a mask.
Layers, so that, so I have to be piece of the file, so the layer object.
All the way back. Yeah. But it wasn't a lot of that.
Lauren,
Oh.
Lauren,
Yeah.
you know there's a history tale though. Sorry.
Well, because then I have to get in top of
I
But I think it's like command option or something. Yeah, that's shift. It's either command.
The issue is you're not getting, so what you're getting back from the database.
Yeah, but if you go,
But you're only getting back the
yeah.
actual database. This is what you're getting back. So you don't have access to this very. You're basically getting that's how you're getting back.
Yeah, and the second thing, if this was a brand new start, then I technically don't have this
Correct. More than that. When you do this,
Oh my god, I think you said.
what you're getting back to the snapshot really is, it's just nominal.
I told you.
So you can't say snapshot about players run, dot,
And like.
Exactly, remember it's just a static copy.
Yeah.
So you need to access that snapshot.
And then, like a lot. The image I was working on was very well read, it was just, so that's what we got, let me chunk this image out
So you
of
get
this,
some value.
like, we got to me on
With the numbers
it,
being
go into Illustrator.
the
Key, I believe that's key, it's whatever you give it to, you call it, if you call it a name, or if you call it X, or you call it Y, that's how you access it. That's how you're gonna traverse through the objects that you get back.
No, so I kind of work with,
Alright, so-
it's terrible with this.
How
Too
they-
much shadow, photographer,
But
Yeah,
I
but
understood
same
it.
way, you just put that, and you put it on spell.
so this is why I need to crop it out of this. Then I ended up just creating this image. To try to make it picture, like kind of like that, and some contrast so that it looks a little nicer and richer in color. And I think it came out well.
Did you guys have your
Judging from
presentation
what I was
ready?
working on, yeah, it was just hard because the
The,
lighting,
groups?
like the way that I photographed.
So what, are you just gonna plug in your laptop or do it?
Yeah, we're just gonna-
It's that created the
yeah,
same
okay.
as it is on this side, so it's a little long. But since this is being such a customization, with this image, when I got it, I was like, I think it's better.
And then after the dot, this
It
is option command key.
Good.
Oh, but not command.
Listen, I did a little move on this because I know it wasn't a lot that I was going to be, but I'm actually just kind of confused on this
Child added. Okay, so child added is basically, there are two ways of doing things with Firebase. One is that you can have an object with properties that change, like, with the example that we did in class on Thursday. We were just updating one property of one object. Because you had a click count, and so each of the users would come and they update that same object. There may be some cases where you need to add multiple records, like in this case, we're adding employee records. So you need a new record for each employee, kind of like if you guys use a database before it creates a new record for each. Right. So, but this is what this is doing, this is for a case where you need a collection of documents in multiple records, like in this case, we need multiple records for each employee. So the push is actually adding a new record every time.
Well, you know what? I didn't even see a push on the example.
No, it's not even exam, it's the push adds it, and then the child added this.
So like what, it grabs it and it pushes it to a database, right?
Pushes that
This
record.
is an old thing.
See, database dot record. See, this is adding
The video, it's not-
employee documents to the database. And then this function, this is for every record to be added to the database, and then it does something there, it's added. It's a callback function, sort of similar to the way we have the callback functions on,
But I have to do like.
events, we're doing the same thing, we're just listening for something to happen.
Okay, and then, you know, I understand it from there, I just wanted to clarify it, because like I said, I was just trying to make sense of it all. The only thing that like I said, is the snapshot stuff, I was a little confused on that as well. It's like,
However, there is some.
saving database.
Yeah, so that's a snapshot, you know how before we had a snapshot of the database? Do you remember what the snapshot did when we talked about that in class?
It like saved that information.
Yeah, it straight takes a snapshot of the database at the current time when this happens. So the child snapshot is just a snapshot of the current record. It's the snapshot of the new employee that gets added, that's a reference to that new object.
So for a snapshot, for example, I would technically would have to use that if I'm saving information to the database, correct?
So this
Like a value?
So this listens for something to get saved to the database, and then it does something with it once it gets saved. So this is like, say you have the window open, somebody else has it open, and they save a new employee to the database, and you'll see it right away pop up in the so this event gets fired, and this tells it, hey, a new employee is added, so it's showing.
Well, if I wanted to, I can save all this information, correct, but I wouldn't be calling it back until I call it back to this added function, correct?
Yeah, so that listens to push, saves it to the database. Then this gets called because something new gets saved to the database. Every time something new gets saved to the database, this function gets called. So if you saved it from your web browser or if somebody else saved it, it wouldn't matter. Either way, it would show the new record.
Okay, what my other question is, I feel like right here, in my review, is it review itself is easier than already kind of written on here? Or I'm saying this new
No,
variable
so this
equal
one-
to the name
See,
that's
one
on the
of them
server.
saves it, the other one listens for something new to get saved, and when it gets saved, one of them listens. So they're two separate processes.
Okay,
So you
so
can find it-
I'm just re-updating the variable here, right? That obviously it's
Well,
lower
this
down.
variable is scoped to this callback function, for one thing.
Oh, that's right.
So you could do it as all as part of the same thing, but then that wouldn't work if you had a new browser window and you added it in one window and you wanted to show up in the other. So that will show up as you're not using it. So if somebody like in Timbuktu adds a new employee, it shows up.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't think I missed a lot, because I was following around with it, so.
Yeah, sorry I had those
No,
problems.
no,
with
it's all good. I
sound.
just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. I feel like it's all class most of this exercise.
Yeah, yeah, and I can go over it with you after if you want. I just need to get ready for the lesson now. So we're actually starting.
Oh, that's good. Like I said, I'm kind of.
Yeah, I think you're getting it. I'll go over it with you two after on break or something. We
One
can
last
definitely go over again. Yeah.
We didn't have an option for the homework, right? We had to do the rock, paper, scissors, correct?
No, you can do rock, paper, scissors, or there's another one called train timetable.
Because I was doing the rock, paper, scissors, because that's what you mentioned we should do that one, because I feel like we
Yeah.
did that whole thing Saturday's class, right?
Oh,
That's
the
pretty
rock,
much it.
paper, scissors.
No, I mean, the time for the train station.
No, it's a little different. You can read the assignment. It's up in GitLab now, so if you want to take a look at it, and then let me know if you have questions.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Not a Told you so, and it has been since like Photoshop 6. When I learned it. Really? Oh. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yes. Part of the reason for that is so that's like part of the reason why, because so they both had competing things that did like similar things, like Adobe with InDesign and then Macromedia with Fireworks, and then they bought them, so they continued to have these things that kind of did the same thing.
When we load the page, we're getting back a snapshot of the database, right? We're getting copy of the
They had it
database.
for a while.
So the first thing we're gonna check,
It was like
is
that
it
for a while until
is there
it got
anyone
to
even
the
in it?
cloud.
If there isn't
Uh-huh.
anyone in there, then don't worry about it.
Yeah, I haven't used it since then. Not a fan of the
However,
cloud.
if there already is a person that we're sending people name to whatever that object is in the database, and we access it by doing this snapshot dot players one dot name, because the reason why we choose name, the reason why we choose players one is because that's how we have it. Players and then one. This is called something else. So this is called
Not whatever.
Exactly. Remember, you're getting back, this is a callback out, so this is a object, so you have to access that one.
I honestly, like,
If it's one,
I tried a lot of
because
the
it's-
and then I can comment that out, so I can like I started going for.
Everybody says the same thing, right?
And then I make the next one.
I think they do that on purpose, so you don't have to start from zero.
I just didn't get.
Yes.
I think they do it first. Probably the better. Now you can do, for example, here you use
Yeah, so there's basically the same thing. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you can do it that way. Yeah, no, you just have to put the text in. Your. Sometimes these examples are. So part of the reason that way is.
The moment you go back in the database, whatever, now we should be able to refresh. This is
You could make one page just for.
So we gotta work with a lot of, but now we should have all.
Yeah, 'cause like, you understand which part is doing.
Okay,
what,
So you just, you gotta put it on the list.
So we want to put it, this is wrong, make sure this gets placed in.
Yeah.
That gets.
That's what it's working on.
This is perfect. Because we made.
Clear one is just the variable you create.
No,
So
that's
we
not.
made clear one.
So just to verify, equals,
Yeah, right there.
equals to the name clear one, if there is a clear one. So if there is a clear one, yeah, so the.
They're totally separate. So, yeah, the push and the set are totally separate. So even if you had a new page open, somebody on the other side. of the
They always
website-
said they're gonna have time to fix it, but I don't know.
And they have a special database. This event is.
It's null, so there's no one to say this, don't worry
And
about
then
it.
it's going to add.
If there's three players in there, there's two players in the database.
Or somebody else. who opens that application, as soon as they add-
However, there is, if none of that is true, so there's two players.
So there's but just as listener.
Zero.
there's one page and
There's
then
one,
just,
you got one. Then you set the name
One
of that
sets
one
it, the other
player
one listens for it.
to
and
be
then
180.
I would have been looking at it the whole time.
Okay, so then, okay, well, I understand the meaning of the object, so then I like to assume that you want in there.
Okay. Hold on, just
If I had to
TA,
rewrite this and make this more actually,
it's,
I actually make it clear one, I would make it.
it was 25 after, if you guys want to get started.
Oh,
Wait, week 9.
oh, yes. Yes, you're on the roll.
I couldn't get this one.
Yeah, let me.
No, I'm just. What? I've never. I don't feel bad unless something's true. Oh, then. Oh, bad.
It's how, I know.
Why no one talking?
This. Good.
What do you
No,
need?
but apparently.
Transfer over existing is PV.
Mini DVR, that's fine.
I think I have that code you sent me too, if you just want to run it.
Oh, dude, yeah, that, I mean.
Yeah, I think it's in our chat. You just sent it to me in the chat, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
No,
that's fine.
Yeah,
Oh, but you didn't change the lets. Oh, well, just don't.
Yeah, just don't
That's
show the
okay.
code. Just kind of like, oh, well, that's it, scroll really
Yeah.
quickly. Okay.
Okay, here you go. Yeah, just copy, paste it. Copy, paste.
And do it in the console.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
So,
Is it?
did we want to, is that good? These are the response students?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, we got it, thank you. These, actually,
It's the same one.
okay, well, that turns on and boots up.
Wait, you didn't find that here, did you?
No,
The USB stickers?
that one,
Yeah,
it's mine.
okay. So I keep losing them.
That's so funny. There we go. That's fine, right? Strong, weak, and then maybe average.
Yeah, what about the level?
This is a level. I just haven't the array.
Okay, 0, 1.
Oh, we were only, oh, so everybody. I need to review that already.
Okay. Wait. The second part is the weak one. And the third one. Is that good? Okay, perfect. Well then, I don't need this anymore. Let's open. Is that still starting up? Is it blinking? No. Try one more time.
Did you have the setting that you want me to focus on?
No, I think you need to press.
I think you did.
You did it yourself?
Oh, there it is. Yeah, we gotta press it one more time. I think first one that kind of like boots it up, and the other one. As weird as that sounds. Oh. Like that. Okay, let me project. Perfect. Okay, so now I have it in the desktop. Windows, don't do this to me. Let's do this. Here it is. Okay, so this should. All right. Cool. So when I open it, it should fire up. This is open with Chrome. Okay, guys. So today, as you guys may or may not know, you're gonna get assigned your groups for Project 1. Now, we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're not going to let you guys choose your groups, but we're not going to choose it either. We're going to let a program choose it for you, a program that I wrote. So it's going to, when I open this file, it's going to automatically generate your groups. All right. Do you guys only want to run it once? Do you want the first one to be the groups, or maybe the second, the third one? You want the second one?
I don't think that's
Why don't you let
fair.
them try it once and see if they want to do that?
Yeah, because then they're essentially choosing.
You're gonna keep pushing me back.
Yeah, exactly. So give me a number. First one?
First one, because
First,
we'll be
second.
biased afterwards.
First one. All right. All right, perfect. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Those are your groups. Write it down.
Okay, everybody write it down. Everybody write down your groups. Write down your groups, guys. I'm gonna send it out on Slack too. Hey, can we turn down the lights in back, or does it not?
I don't think they do. That's the weirdest thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird.
Oh, those are. Yeah, I'm thinking they turn on.
Here, man.
Well, Stacy,
It's like near.
Where did yours be?
I have to make it.
I don't know.
This is
Top one.
Brandon, where are you coming? Where are you? But do we divide ourselves right now?
We're gonna have a slideshow first, and then we're gonna have a brainstorming session. So we don't need to do it just quite yet. Sorry everyone, bear with me. How are you guys this Tuesday? Good? Everyone good? Okay.
Where is Pedro?
He's on here.
Pedro's right there. He has a haircut.
Chris, what's up, Chris? I was like, where is Chris? This is so I'm like,
Okay, you guys all got your groups? All right, let's actually, I changed my mind. Let's switch to our groups now. You guys get 3 minutes, go. Get in your groups.
You need a charger? You can't need a charger.
Oh, thank you.
Over there.
Next 20 years, guys.
Yeah, 1 minute. Go, go, go.
Oh, we get the PA.
Okay, who isn't in their group yet? Gretel, get in your group.
Hey, buddy, go there.
Okay, everyone in the group. Who isn't in the group yet? John? Okay, most people in their groups.
As far as it is.
Are you almost dead? Okay.
Well, I'm still good for the time being. I'm at half.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna do a slideshow. Okay. Group 1, raise your hands. Jack, what are you?
We're fine.
You're 5, okay.
We just got really excited.
Okay, so all of you guys over there are group 5?
No, just us four.
Oh, okay, you're group 2?
Wait, no, you guys should have a group of 4.
Yeah, how come they got a group, how come we have one group of 2? That does not make sense.
There's 3. Oh, because one person isn't here.
Oh, who?
Well, actually, so Sam isn't here.
Sam is just part.
Oh, he just parked. Okay, so he's coming in. That might be the group of 2.
Okay, wait, let's see.
Group 6 has only 3 people. Yeah, wait.
And the rest are 4, and then there's one with 3.
Because of the amount of students that we have.
Okay, so that's Mario, Russ, and them. But what about John's group?
John is the first one.
Group 1 is missing who? Mike and Adrian. Okay. Oh yeah, Mike and Adrian aren't here. Okay, so group 1, raise your hands. That's you guys. Okay, group 2. Group 3. Okay, group 4. Group 5.
In the house.
Okay, group 6. Okay, awesome. So we are going to have a slideshow presentation now on your groups. Okay, everyone ready? Sam, join your group. Looking sharp, by the way. Yes. You're back there.
Very fashionable.
Yes. Okay. Project week overview. We made it. Yay! In today's class, we will be doing the following: dividing ourselves up into groups. We're going to begin researching APIs. What does API stand for? Application Programming Interface. Good. We're going to outline our project ideas. We're going to submit our project proposals for approval. We are going to do our initial design work. All of that makes sense to everyone. You guys are going to be picking a project with APIs. You're going to pick 2 or more APIs that will work together and find a project that you could make with APIs. Like, for example, you might use OMDB and Giphy API and find GIFs that match a certain movie or something. That would be one idea. Another idea might be to use Giphy with maps to show GIFs for a certain place on the map, or you might use Twitter API with maps, or, endless possibilities, right? So are the wheels turning there? Are you guys all, can you guys all start thinking of ideas? But you don't have to, you can use any API. Any API.
Do we have a list of what APIs are available?
There are many. If you look up online, you can find several. Some good resources for it are Mashable, Mashable. But just Google, use your Google powers. We are getting out of the habit of being hedgehogs and going to one place for information, like an instructor or a TA, and getting into being more foxy, where we go and find solutions from the open market all over the place, right? So, do we know what's happening in Thursday's class? Development, inspector, and TA workshops. Right, and Saturday's class, we're doing what? Hardcore development. We are doing hardcore development. Welcome, Mike, get your group. Okay, next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, hardcore development, preparation prep, presentations. Saturday, so we know what we'll be doing for the next 2 weeks, right? Everyone clear on what we're doing for 2 weeks? Be serious about project week. Is everyone serious about project week? But we don't have to be too serious. We can make it joking serious too. Stay light about it. It's not the end of the world. And use this as an opportunity to push yourself and prove what you know. Because you do know. Shiz, is that? Okay.
You really don't read these slides ahead.
I think they were trying to make it like.
Yes, they're thinking I'll be like Ron Burgundy and do everything.
Because you do know.
Okay, so groups, we know our groups. I don't think we need to talk about that. So, would somebody like to read bullet point number 1?
Must use at least 2 API.
Thank you, Melvin. Bullet point number 2, somebody.
Must use API.
Thank you, Melvin. Bullet point number 3, somebody.
Let's utilize at least one new library or technology that we haven't discussed.
That we haven't discussed. You guys will go find a new library or something new that does something new we haven't covered yet and learn how to use it on your own by reading about it, by being foxes. Okay, bullet point number 4, somebody.
Must have a polished front end and UI.
Okay, everybody clear what that means? It's got to look good. It's got to look like you put a little time into the UI work. It can't just be like you just, used any font, did nothing. It should be polished. Okay, bullet point number 5.
Must meet good quality coding standards, indentation, scoping, and making.
Yes, we're going to talk more about those when I go over homework with you guys, maybe tomorrow night on the webcast. But yes, good quality coding standards. Number 6, somebody.
Must not use alerts, confirm, or prompts. Look at some modals.
Yeah, so you can't use any like really easy ways out like alerts or prompts when you want to alert them. And just something use modals instead. Do we all know what modals means by now? Yes? Anybody not know what a modal is? Okay, Gretel, would you like to explain? You said you do know what a modal is? Okay.
I don't.
Okay, so then tell the people who don't know. Yeah, it can be a Bootstrap component. You can also do it with jQuery if you don't want to use Bootstrap. Basically, it's just a pop-up window that pops up to tell you something like an alert box, but more fancier. Because we're being fancy and polished, professional. All right, number 7, somebody.
Must have some sort of repeating element, table, columns, etc.
Okay, so you must have something repeat itself. I don't know why we need that one, but yeah, you should have a list of something repeating itself, some type of table, some type of columns. That is a requirement. Okay, number 8, somebody.
Must use Bootstrap or alternative CSS framework.
Okay, you must use Bootstrap or some other CSS framework that does grid and the same things. Everyone clear on that part? Okay, somebody who hasn't read yet, number 9.
Must be deployed.
You had to pick the shortest one, didn't you? Must be. Okay, so we all clear on what that means? We put it on our GitHub pages?
Yeah.
Okay, number 10.
Wait, so how would it go on all of our portfolios then? If it's deployed to one GitHub page?
You just link it to your portfolio. All of the things on your portfolio are links, right? So you just link it to that person's GitHub pages. Or you can all put it on your GitHub pages if you want to. Yeah, by forking it. But you should fork it once it's done. Clone it and then fork it once it's done. Yeah.
So are we gonna have to worry about changing permissions so that everyone can work on the same repository?
Yes. Yes, you will. And I can show you guys how to do that. Somebody read number 10, please.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
It's T5. Must
Both
have
have
you.
user.
Okay, go ahead. Both go together in unison. Now, you're both doing it on 3. Okay, that was great. Can all of team 5 read it? Okay. That's okay. Okay, must have user input validation. What on earth does that mean? You may be asking yourselves. User input validation. Who knows?
Login?
No.
So can it validate that they're entering the right, like if you're entering email address, it validates that you have that, at sign?
Right. Did everyone hear that? And Jose, could we just focus up here for now, please? So did everyone hear that? Email validation validates that you're entering the right information. So if you enter an email address, it's going to check, does it have an @ sign? Does it have a .com or a .org or a top level domain name? If you're entering a phone number, it's going to check what? Does it have 10 digits, right? What's something else we would validate? A password. If you're entering a password, a new password, it's got to meet the password criteria. Right? So if it's got to be a certain length, have special characters, have uppercase characters, have numbers, etc. That's what's meant by user input validation. So is everyone clear on that? We're not just going to let people enter whatever they want. We're going to validate it. Okay. Awesome. So is everyone clear on coding requirements? Any questions on coding requirements?
Do we have to use Firebase?
Yes, you do. Because we're not on to making back-end pages yet, and we don't want you making your own server yet. So yeah, we are going to be using Firebase. You can use a comparable alternative to Firebase if you want to, another back-end as a service platform. However, you will have to research those and figure out which ones are best, and Firebase is a pretty good one, so you might as well just use Firebase. And you can make Firebase work. Firebase will do whatever you need. It will, Gretel. Any other questions on this before we move on? Question, Jose? Okay. Anyone?
So it can be anything.
Yes, it can be literally anything. The more creative you are, the better. It just has to have all of these things, which is pretty easy. Most web apps do pretty much all have these things. Okay? Everyone clear on all this? Awesome. Anybody want to take a picture of this with their phones or anything? I guess I can put it on yeah, I'll just put it on Slack too for you guys. Oh, sorry, Mario. Go ahead. Okay, here are the nice to have. Somebody read nice to have number 1.
Utilize Firebase for persistent data storage. Consider this basically required.
Okay, so there's your answer, Gretel. Okay, number 2. Mobile responsive. We all know what this means by now, right? It's got to look good on your iPhone, on your mobile. You can use an alternative CSS framework like Materialize instead of using Bootstrap. I have never done that, but if you want to get fancy, you can. I would make that probably the last thing you do, though. I don't want you to use Materialize and have it like halfway done. Presentation. So you will be responsible for prepping a 10-minute presentation. This will be a formal presentation. Wear a suit and tie, shine your shoes. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. I don't know what that's. But be formal about it. Pretend like you are starting a business, like you're being business-like. Pretend like it's important to you. So in this formal presentation, you will explain in detail your overall application's concept, the motivation for its development. Why are you inventing this thing? How is it going to help people? Why do people care about it? What is your design process? How did you design it? How are you building it? The technologies you used. And briefly how they work. So we're using Firebase for data storage. We're using Bootstrap for layout. We're using jQuery for DOM abstraction, etc. You're going to demonstrate its functionality. So you're going to have your app working. You're going to demonstrate it and show us how it works. Right? Everyone clear on that? Good. Then you're going to tell us your roadmap, your direction for future development. Treat this presentation seriously, but you can make jokes and you can be not serious about it too. Don't be too serious. Talking intelligently about tech. Doing is greater than doing tech sometimes. Same exact thing I have been saying. This is what is really going to help you guys get jobs. This is what is really going to help you guys boost your careers. Learning to talk intelligently about all these technologies that we're using. People will very rarely look at your code when they're looking at whether or not they want to hire you. What they will look at is how eloquently you speak, how confident you seem about all of these things. That's basically those two things is what they look at. So be glam for the camera. All presentations will be recorded. Again, treat it seriously, not too seriously. If you want to wear a funny hat, like I'm cool with that, or a funny outfit, or if you want to wear your roller skates that day, that's fine. But these presentations can be great portfolio pieces too, so keep that in mind. Okay, metrics. This is what you will be graded on. Everybody got these 5 things? Your concept, your design, how polished it is, the functionality, how well it works, collaboration, how well you're working together. So if there's one person pretty much doing the whole thing and everybody else is just sitting there watching them, that will be reflected in your grade. Also, your presentation, how well you present it. Are you wearing funny hats that day?
We get bonus points for your.
Yes, you will get bonus points for funny hats.
She got you.
For whoever, that's a
I didn't get it.
character on, so he got it.
Well, no, that's like our version of
Yeah.
No.
Good point, good point. I just.
I would compare his enthusiasm more to the person who would do the prices right.
Yeah.
Bob Barker.
Bob Barker.
Our version of Bob Barker.
Except he's not a game show, he's a talk show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sexual deep.
All right.
Okay, yeah, we just had a total squirrel moment there. Okay, so awards, yeah, you will get these awards. So there are plenty of awards to go around, as you can see. I hope everybody gets at least one of these 8, because there are how many teams? 6? So yes, plenty of awards to go around.
Oh wait, so even though we're presenting on a Saturday, like we don't split the awards with the other class? Like,
No, I think we do. And the other class also have chosen some ideas already as well. So we're supposed to not copy their ideas.
So are you and Lab gonna be the judges?
Yeah, I think everybody, I think all of our whole team is going to judge this. Is that what you heard, Jonathan? Yeah. But I will be giving extra points for funny hats and not being too serious. If I judge, I don't know how the judging works. I'll have to get back to you guys on that. I mean, it should like go into your thing. So if your app is about superheroes, let's say, or comic books, then that would make sense.
Can you explain socially conscious?
Yes, socially conscious means that you are conscious of social issues. So you might make an app to say help the environment, or to help the elderly, or to help disadvantaged youths, or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Most disruptive. What about this one? What does this mean?
I like that.
Shaking up that industry.
Disruptive, and that doesn't mean disruptive like you guys are having side conversations in class. Disruptive. What this means is that you're disrupting an industry, a brick and mortar industry, a traditional industry that has not yet been disrupted by technology. You're entering that marketplace with technology that's going to disrupt the way people are used to doing business. Make sense to everyone? Good. Okay, so most hilarious. That's another award. Something to think about. I like hilarious. Okay, best use of tech, most creative, best UI UX. Any questions on awards? No? Okay. So here are some suggested APIs. Oh, no. So here's some things we're going to talk about. Did you guys talk about cores in your Saturday Ajax class with Vlad? No. Okay. So we're going to talk about cores right now. Anybody would like to take a guess on what this is? Cross origin requests, headers, or cores? Okay. So let me explain to you guys how this works. We talked about HTTP headers. Remember when I told you guys they were like the fax cover sheet of all of your HTTP requests that give meta information about the information that's being sent? So whether it's an image, whether it's a CSS file, whether it's a JavaScript file, whether it's an HTML file, all of the files that get sent over the HTTP transfer protocol get sent with HTTP headers, which is sort of like a fax cover sheet. It's giving you meta information about the information that's being sent. So let me, because you guys are all looking kind of glassy-eyed, like you don't understand. So let me try to show you what this means. So if I go to a new website, say Google, say I open up this JavaScript console, go to network, go to all. I'm going to refresh the page so I can see all of the requests. So you can see we're getting all kinds of things. We're getting images, we're getting style sheets, we're getting HTML files, all these different things make up this web page of google.com, right? Everyone with me so far? So there are images, there are style sheet files, there's all different files that we need to look at google.com, right? So if I look at any one of these, you'll see there's this tab that says headers. These are HTTP headers. This is like the fax cover sheet for every one of these documents that gets sent. There are request headers and then there are response headers, right? Because we send out a request. And when we send out a request, we send out the request with headers. So it's like we're sending out a fax cover sheet saying, hey, give me this information. I'm using this user agent. So in this case, we're telling it basically what kind of browser we're using. There can be more request headers, like for instance, if we're passing in a get variable, like I could pass a get variable like this. This would be in the request headers now. So then if I do this, and then do this, now I can look at, let's see, HTML. Anyway, for my HTML file, those get variables would be in the request headers. Then I get back response headers. These tell me all kinds of things, right? They can tell me when does this content expire? When was it last modified? How long is it? Should it be cached privately? Is this making sense to you guys? I get it that this is all kind of new information, but are you guys sort of seeing how this works? Sometimes you'll need extra information, meta information that gets sent about every file. So one thing that these HTTP headers can be used for is something called cross-origin requests. These allow you to pull in scripts from certain domain names. Usually that is blocked to pull in a script to your site from another domain name or pull in a JSON file to your site from another domain. Usually that feature is blocked in browsers. Can anybody take a guess why they would block that? Sam.
You pull in a malicious script.
You can pull in a malicious script. It's meant to protect against something called cross-site scripting, or XSS, which was a very common way that hackers would use to gain control of websites and do malicious activities. So browser makers implemented this policy called the cross-origin policy. You guys can all go look it up on Wikipedia. So CORS basically is one way to get around that cross-origin policy. Does that make sense to everybody? No? So basically, sometimes you will get errors that say you're not allowed to access this content you're trying to pull down over Ajax because it violates the cross-origin policy. So when you run into these problems with cross-origin, you'll know that it's there to protect against malicious activity, as Sam said, and you can fix it in one of two ways. You can use either CORS or you can use JSON-P. So everyone write these two things down, CORS, C-O-R-S, and JSON-P. This is how you mitigate cross-origin policy issues. Okay, everybody got that? JSON P cores mitigates cross-origin policy
So we
issues.
have to, before we use an API, we have to look into the documentation and it will show if it allows a course or we have to, or how do we know that it allows a course?
Yeah, you can look into the documentation for it and it will allow cores. There's also something you can look into called a cores proxy. So if you look up cores proxy, there are sites that will request a document for you and then put the HTTP headers on that document and send you the document with the HTTP headers on it. So one of these is Cores Anywhere, or crossorigin.me is another one. So in order to use this, we would, just to show you guys an example of how this works, you can get google.com over crossorigin.me. So we're just going to see what this does. Origin header is required. Okay, so we would need to set it with the origin header. But you can use a site like this, crossorigin.me, to add cores. If cores isn't already available on the API you're using, you can use something like this. Okay, and if it doesn't make sense to you yet, just keep in mind that this is how you fix it. And then when you run into these problems, you can go and look it up. Okay, makes sense to everyone? So, okay, yeah. JSON P, CORS and JSON P. Those are the two things. And if you guys could just make that note now and then come back to what we're doing and talking as a group, that would be great. There, CORS and JSON P. And they are to help mitigate cross-browser issues. Hopefully did someone on your team get that? Who is on your team, Mario and Russ? Did you guys understand that, sort of? What we've been talking about for the last 15 minutes, the cross-origin issues? Okay, makes sense to everyone? Sorry? Yeah, to get around it being blocked. Sometimes your browser will block you because of cross-origin issues. It'll think it might be a malicious script, so this is to help you guys get around it, okay? You want to use APIs that have simple or no authentication, or just a simple API key, but nothing too fancy like OAuth. Some APIs require that you use something called OAuth, OpenAuth, which is harder to use, so you guys probably won't be able to do that. Stick with APIs that will return a response in JSON, although you can use XML, that's probably fine too. And you'll want to use a well-documented API. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Everyone with me so far? What are you guys all reading about? You guys all look so busy there on your laptops. Okay. Well, if you don't remember all of this, hopefully one of your teammates will. So here are some API suggestions. We will send all of these out to you. This shows you which ones allow cores. So Spotify API allows cores, Reddit API allows cores. The authentication method is OAuth here with Spotify, so that one's a little harder. Auth is a little harder. You want to look for the ones with API keys. That'll be the easiest for you. So YouTube uses an API key and it uses cores. Flickr uses cores and OAuth. So you guys are getting the idea here, right? Can you all see all of these? Do you want me to zoom in? Okay. Sure. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah. We'll have access to this, right?
Yeah, I'll send it out to you guys. I'll send it out to you guys. This is just sort of to show, give you an idea. So here are some tools that are available to you. Somebody read this on top. No. This.
Collaboration.
It's critical. Somebody else read this on top.
Collaboration is fair.
Okay, one more person.
Collaboration is super critical.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Can we all do it as a class one time? You got it like on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Collaboration is critical.
Yes, I love it. And yes, it is. It's very critical. So steering a project with remote developers like this one can be challenging. Consider using the following tools. These are tools to help you guys collaborate. GitHub pull requests. So how pull requests work is that you can request for your code to be added to a repository or to a branch. So usually this is the way it will work in large organizations. Instead of you being able to just merge in your code with what's already there, you'll have to fill out a request and say, hey, here's what I changed. This is why I changed it. Here's a longer description of what I changed. These are the files that I changed. And then one or more developers, you can configure it so it's 2 or 3, will have to approve the request. And then the code gets added. So you guys can play with configuring that on your own so that your teams can add pull requests, which makes the process easier. Remember when we learned about Git, we said Git is what? It's a tool to help people collaborate together effectively without stepping on each other. So any questions on GitHub pull requests, how they work at a high level, what they do? All right. Yeah.
Can you teach us how I don't know if that has to do with that thing. Can you teach us how to split the task so we can know?
Yeah, that's sort of a different question. We'll come back to that. That's a good question though. Any questions just on this though, setting up pull requests on GitHub? Okay. So this is a good tool to use. GitHub issues. If you're seeing problems with your site, if you're running into bugs, it's good to document them. You can use GitHub issues to document some of the bugs that you're running into with your code, and then you can split them up throughout your team. So if you have one person that you know is good at CSS and you have a CSS bug, you can assign that bug to them. Right? Make sense to everyone? Has anyone seen these type of issue trackers or bug trackers before? Some of you guys who work in offices already might have run into them with your work. If not, basically they're just a way of tracking the tasks and issues you have. Trello. Trello is a project management tool. Has anyone heard of this? Yeah. You can create to-do lists and stuff. You can also sign up for a free Jira account if you want. There are a lot of free project management tools out there for you guys. But you guys are working in pretty small teams, honestly, so I wouldn't get too carried away with that. It might be more time than it's worth to get set up with something like that. Any questions on Trello or on project management tools at all? Okay. Bless you. Okay, so here is one example, Event Searcher. Would somebody like to read this for me? Users type in the name of their. Okay.
Then using the CP API, your web application points them to the next game and location where the team is playing. The web application also provides them a link to eBay where they can purchase memorabilia associated with the team.
Okay, doesn't floor me, doesn't really, it's okay. I mean, it does use 2 APIs, I guess. Okay, UN data API, unofficial UN data API to search a user in a specified country's health records. Then use a second source. I like this one. This is the kind of visualization I like to do. Any questions on this one? You're going to show UN health records on a map. So you can show which countries are the sickest, which countries have the highest rates of breast cancer, whatever it is, and try to show sort of trends. Does that make sense to you guys? How that would work? And then show sort of correlation. So if there's a low number of physicians, there might be a high number of deaths due to malaria or something like that. Any questions on this one? You guys all sort of see how this would work? Okay. Okay, you can use the Face++ API, which is no longer available, so we'll skip this one. Facebook bought it and took it out of circulation. They didn't want anyone else being able to do facial recognition besides them. Just do your own thing, though. Be creative, be ambitious. 2 days focus. Somebody read, please.
Brainstorm possible idea.
Good. Somebody else.
Begin API research.
Begin API research. Do we all know what that means? You're going to research which APIs you want to use, start coming up with ideas, and then create an initial draft/sketch of your final design. Does everyone have an idea what that's going to look like? You're going to sketch it out on paper. You could sketch it out on your computer. You could use Fireworks or Visio. And now, what is the last, number 4? Somebody read.
Create a short one-page proposal listing out each of the following: title, team member, descriptions, product, KPIs, corporate contact.
Okay, everyone got that? You guys want to take a picture of this one too?
We're gonna select this whole presentation, right?
Yeah, we can Slack out the whole presentation. That's fine. Okay, questions? Any more questions on this? Do you guys all sort of know what you're going to do by now? You get what we're doing here?
We know what we've been assigned.
You know what you've been assigned? Yeah. Okay. So I think that from now until break in 50 minutes, you guys are going to talk with your groups.
These are 50 minutes.
What?
Break.
50 minutes, 5-0, 8 o'clock. Okay, I'll Slack out that slide deck to you guys now.
I also am creating
We're trying to come up with general. You have something in mind that you want to do?
what I did
I see where.
You were talking about construction. Yeah, we should use that. So we may be shooting for we can do something for a while. I'm gonna put this idea in the Slack. What idea? Figure something out. Okay, that's gonna give us this one already exists. We can do.
That one's tricky, but that's just.
Yeah.
Looking at our stuff to do around maybe not.
And just using
They would get to like the main idea.
¿Es el vídeo de esa vídeo? Advice, no face.
Yeah.
But I just don't know, like.
Yeah, I saw this thing. We could even, we could, I know that a lot of times when we go what they're going to do that day, they turn into either rival, so we could do it from a style or. Groupon, what are the other? I was thinking like. I go to the
I can understand how you can use it, I mean, not how to use it. Like a basic medicine, I was thinking about this the other way, but I didn't find it.
Well, I don't know if DC has an API. But the thing is, the model has an API.
Yeah, I know, I was looking, I was trying to make eye contact with you.
We linked right now with the URL, like, we saw.
What can we buy out the data?
This is a perfect.
Yeah.
Let's start a thread for them. We don't have the whole week just for that. Nobody's in the channel.
We need to make.
I think I forgot to
There's a lot of bullshit. Yeah,
I've heard it. Yeah.
It should.
We're gonna use two API. How about we figure which two APIs to give us the power?
Like user enters a paragraph, what wants to happen, and Watson creates a search for the images, and then you create like a customized page.
Wikipedia is also.